Awesome, thank you. Okay, so let's take you on a tour of our YouTube channel. Okay, so this is our YouTube channel. If you can all see this, so we have 32 subscribers right now. Here are all our videos. It apparently does not tell me how many videos there are, but we have quite a bit. So I've edited most of these. Bonnie's edited a couple of these, and Colin's edited a couple of these. Here's how our channel is doing. We have had 127 views. We have 3.7 watch time hours from our viewers, and oh, okay. Sorry. So, but this is how our channel is doing. So, and we started, if it tells me, we started on August 31st, 2020. Is that correct, Bonnie? Does that sound right? All right. So, and we are here. So our channel has grown a lot throughout the time. So, and we're hoping to get more subscribers, and we're hoping to upload a lot more videos in the future. So.
We had a core group of, JJ was part of the core group, Cody, Colin, Pastor John of Prince of Life Lutheran Church, also Pastor John Stevens of Zion Lutheran in Oregon City. So it's begun locally, but we have a contribution from Massachusetts. One of these videos that you see there is the one from here. She heard of us, and she's in Massachusetts. But you can see it's a variety of things. There's the one Peanut Pinchers. Carol and Connie is a couple that put peanuts out on their deck, and these blue jays come and steal them, so they videoed that. And then this Judy's plants. These are her overwintered plants. Maple Grove Magic. This is a member of Christ the Healer. So some of her kids were blowing giant bubbles. And there's John that does magic. It's gospel magic. And then Bodhi is teaching Qigong moves. And then over here, one of the first ones we put up was a young girl sharing her Girl Scout poster, and then her brother doing karate. So it's a variety of meaning. Oh yeah, not to mention the Gospel Clown children's sermon that my sister Gabrielle did at, I think that was at Wilsonville. Was that in Wilsonville? Yeah. So there's a little bit of an introduction, but now I'm really curious. I would love to hear from you why you chose this knowledge camp and something of what you'd like to get out of it. And as we go on, hearing some of your possible ideas for it. So maybe our moderator can call your names, since we don't know what order we are in the lineup here.
But before we do that, I have another meeting I have to be at, so I have to go. I'm sorry about that, but I hope this meeting goes well. And Charlie, you joined a little bit late. Sorry about that. Sorry if you're not up to date. I'm sure they can get you up to date. So let's give JJ back host, or she's already done it. You're muted.
Thank you. You're muted, JJ. You're muted.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Thank
Awesome.
you. Thanks for being here tonight.
Yep.
Awesome.
See you later.
Yeah.
I have to say that one of the things that I've enjoyed a lot about GracePlay YouthTube is the intention of including it's not just the adults making videos, but Bonnie has done a really good job of including a lot of all different ages of people in the process. And I think that's where the brilliance of it is that collaboration. there's only four, well, there's six of us. Let's see, on my screen, Rosalind, would you like to introduce yourself and maybe a couple of questions that you're curious about exploring?
Well, hi, I'm Rosalind McCormick. I go to Waverly Heights, UCC in Southeast Portland. And I just liked the title. And I find that in the age of COVID, life is sometimes too serious. And so the idea of finding some cheer and some joy in this time is something I kind of seek out a little bit. So I was just curious. I really didn't know what to expect, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
All right. Cecil, would you like to go next?
Hi, I'm Cecil Prescott. I'm the Minister of Faith Formation at Ainsworth UCC in Portland. And I was intrigued by the title. I didn't know whether it was a play on God's plays, so I wasn't quite sure of what to expect. And I also have to confess that during the time of COVID, I've been just like looking for different things and different videos, and I've borrowed or used or appropriated some of JJ's God's Play video. And among the questions I have is choosing a team or a videographer or an editor, and the process of creating content and to put up. Thank you.
Thank you. Katie, would you like to go next?
Yeah, my name's Katie Cook, and I'm the Children and Youth Coordinator for the UCC Church at Riverside in Hood River. And I was intrigued by the title. As we move into the colder months and we can't do as much outside, Charlie, the person that I work with and is a performing arts specialist, and I were talking about doing some different kind of things with videos and the children and youth online. And so we were, of course, intrigued with the title and just kind of wanted to see what we could learn. We've kind of thought about going around and making little videos of our youth, you know, how-to videos, whatever, like how to make macaroni and cheese or whatever, you know, or read a poem, or to kind of get them warmed up to their performing arts skills, and so that we can do more complicated things with video online. So yeah, nice to be here. Thanks.
Charlie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry I couldn't get here right on time. I was putting my daughter to bed here. But I work with Katie in Hood River, and we're really excited, like she said, to try to find more opportunities for our youth to get their voices heard, and also for our congregation to hear back from the youth, because unfortunately we don't see them a lot on the Zoom services on Sunday. I think they're kind of burned out after a whole week of Zoom school. And one thing that I've been kind of toying with the idea of, because in the past we've done, you know, sort of a holiday pageant where we all get together and get to act and do some cool production. And it's just really tricky because we can't put a bunch of people together in the same room for, you know, rehearsals or recording. And then I'm trying to think about how are we gonna, you know, maybe record this person's part and then edit it in later and mess with the background. So I just had this epiphany today about possibly doing something that's a little bit more piecemeal, where we have like a puppet show that we've put together, and then they can, you know, work out the background and have other kids do the voiceover parts, so people can kind of do different parts of it, whether it's the background design or the puppet making or the actual character voicing or the story writing, but so they can all still collaborate but kind of phone in their pieces from their different homes. So I'm hoping that that'll be successful. But I'm loving to hear about other ideas for stuff we can do. Yeah, I meant to talk to you about that, Katie. I just thought of that. So.
No, I know. This is what happens. Charlie and I, we have all sorts of ideas. I love it. We'll be talking. That's great.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, we'd love for you to share some of your, experiments and explorations, and even, before they're finished for GracePlay. I'm on a learning curve about editing, but Cody definitely knows how to edit, and my laptop got drowned in the flood after the fire, so I have to relearn it from iMovie to a PC. But anyway, it's a learning curve, but it's very exciting. It's a good venue, I think, because what I really like about this is it's ecumenical. So it's all different ages, but it's also different denominations, and even though we're based in church, maybe some folks who are unchurched might flash onto it and get intrigued if we're sharing good news during these times.
Bonnie,
Yeah.
I have a question. So would you say that GracePlay and the YouthTube is more like would you consider it like a resource? Like, can people go on that channel and use those videos in other places, or what would you like people to do with those videos?
Well, first of all, watch them and like them and subscribe. But we have a permission slip so that if there's underage kids, to have the parental figure give permission to have it on YouTube. And because it's on YouTube, then it becomes public, although it is associated with the kids. I forget what the title is for YouTube, but it's got adult content in terms of we're going to have some more heavy videos like learning about meditation, things like that. But it's a variety, and definitely to use them and to share them. I think originally we thought we'd all of a sudden get thousands of contributors and we'd be monetized and all that. I wanted to find a way to be able to reimburse these younger folks have really put in time doing a lot of the editing and teaching us elders how to use iMovie, or how to even click on YouTube. So it's really sharing the gifts and the skills and the talents, and across the board. And somebody did venture in from Massachusetts, so why not Southeast Portland and Northeast Portland? And where did you say you're from, Rosalind?
I'm from Southeast Portland. I go to Waverly Heights, UCC. Not too far from Cleveland High School. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, are there? It's for me. It's also a way to share some of our practices of keeping centered. Is there a practice that you might have just in your own life that's become meaningful to you that you be willing to share your attempts at centering even? For instance, I took a learning the Native American flute course online, and I thought I would maybe put a video of me playing the flute on there. I'm not very accomplished, but that has become a way for me to center in the morning. I do live out in the country in Malino, and so I get up with the sun and offer the flute, to God and then to the community. That's a kind of a ritual that I learned from my teacher. Is there a practice that you might have that you would like to have that you feel like you would share, even from a personal? Just jump right in, because how about you, Katie? You're smiling, and I think that might mean you have something.
Oh, well, I guess what I do, but I think it probably would be kind of boring, is it just really helps to walk. And I live in Hood River part of the time, and then I live out on a ranch the other part of the time. It's very isolated, and it's just very meditative just to walk. So
Wouldn't
that's,
that be wonderful for some of us, some folks in the city to see, the horizon of Hood River, different times of day. Just take your phone with you and film one of those walks. And
oh yeah,
I don't, do you
good
have
idea.
somebody that would edit it and put like an intro and an outro, or send it to Cody and we're gonna get him to do some of it?
Yeah, no, good ideas. We'll be definitely thinking. Yeah. I
I
think you
mean,
guys are onto something. So
you'll see on GracePlay, Judy Cook, she's an elder in Prince of Life, and she had some overwintering, I think it was hydrangeas, that she was so surprised that they bloomed back in April and May, and she took a video of that. And that's not bells and whistles, that's her love of her plant there. So, and our little Girl Scout, Lily, after church, during church, she used to write notes and hand them little pictures to people as they shook the pastor's hand when they left. So one of the videos is sharing a big poster that she made. Simple, but it breaks through some of that reserve that we have. It doesn't have to be exciting, it can be real. I know you got lots of kids. Aren't you in official capacity, Cecil? Is it Ainsworth? So you have kids that you work with, or?
Yeah, we do, and as someone said earlier, part of the challenge is that we aren't getting our kids.
There's rice and chicken out.
We aren't getting our kids and youth in church on Zoom church because it's zoomed out during the week, and so part of what we're trying to discover or find out different ways of connecting. We thought about, gathering at a time other than Sunday or when it's convenient for them. But I like the idea of maybe projects. And one of the things that I think it was Charlie who mentioned about the Christmas pageant. So I was in discussion with the person who's been doing our Christmas pageant for forever. And so we're trying to figure out what to do this year. And so thank you, Charlie, for just inspiring me a little bit, because when we meet, I'll say, oh, what about?
There you go.
I have another suggestion I want to hear everyone's suggestions about Christmas pageants, actually, if you don't mind, Bonnie, because that's a big one, right? Because Christmas pageants are a big deal at churches. And we've been toying around with the idea of these Sunday school packets and putting in different pieces of the big mosaic that they can color or decorate and make that come together. And I don't know, something where everybody can put a piece in somehow, so it's some kind of collaborative effort.
Right.
At Prince of Life, we talked about everybody filming some different part of the pageant. Somebody could be Mary and film that. Somebody might have a llama, an alpaca in their backyard, and just everyone take a little piece of the story, and then somebody could edit it all together. And the other thing is, there's a live stream function on YouTube, and wouldn't that be interesting for churches to collaborate on, on a live stream?
That's actually one thing that we were talking about doing for our Advent concert series. Normally we gather in the sanctuary every Wednesday throughout the season of Advent. And the committee that normally takes that on was like, we just don't feel comfortable. We're not sure how to make this happen. But we were kind of talking about if we had individual people sort of spaced out and lined up, or even waiting in their cars if they need to be that far away, then they could come into the sanctuary where we just have the accompanist and the live streaming video camera there. And so the performance can still happen in the sanctuary. People can feel like, you know, it's part of the Advent season. It's all decorated. It's live streaming from there, so they can still kind of participate, but not in just the pre-recorded YouTube fashion, and in a little bit of more live event kind of feeling. So,
Oh, you know, there's a function, enable sound. So we were going to try to do a hymn sync on YouTube. And if you enable the sound, you click on enable sound. I can't tell you exactly where it is on YouTube, but it allows for less filtering, less disjunction between. Have you tried singing on YouTube? But look for enable sound and click on that. It pops up somewhere. And we were going to try it with the hymn sing. We haven't yet scheduled that. But
oh, I gotta try that. I miss singing with people so much.
yeah. Rosalind, do you have any thoughts that I was wondering about your situation?
Well, I really haven't been involved with the church leadership and what discussions they've been having. But just the comments that we've had as we've been talking as a congregation is how much we miss the music, how much we miss the singing, the being together, of course. And people talked about they wanted the church decorated, which struck me as odd because we aren't in the building. But there was a sense that people wanted to know it was decorated, and that maybe then people could be allowed in one at a time to do the labyrinth and the decorated church or something. So we haven't quite figured it out. We still are kind of wanting the old model, but that of course will not be. And we've also, you know, gone to broadcasting the service every Sunday, which we like. I'm sorry for the background noise here, but I live in a busy house. So we've talked about the fact that we don't think we'll go back to the way it was once this is over, that people from all over the country, in fact, all over the world, have been able to come to the Sunday service because of the way we do it and be a part of our prayer concerns. And, you know, we're connected to them in a way that we weren't when they were gone. And so it's like we want to keep that going. Mm-hmm. So I think it makes some sense for us to think about how to change some of these customs, update them, if you will, so that they will transfer into what will be the new way of doing things once the COVID is over. So we've asked those kinds of questions. We've talked about what's important to us, and we're having once a month meetings, Zoom meetings, to continue doing that, talking about what's important to us in various aspects of the church. So that's kind of what we're doing. We've talked a lot about, we now have some youth that are junior high, high school, and we really haven't had a youth group program because we haven't had enough of a core group to do that. So one of the things I was interested with what you're doing was the ecumenical aspect of it, and being able to connect with other youth, even though we don't have a very large group, that would be kind of nice. And, you know, I suppose that could happen in terms of the holidays and Advent as well. But anyway, for what it's worth.
That actually makes me think about another member of our congregation has a podcast that she loves to do. And so we were talking about maybe starting like a podcast with our kids, but, you know, even to keep it with the whole GracePlay channel, we could just have like video interviews, you know, just a couple of like topics to get it going where kids can talk about, okay, well, what is your church doing about this? Or what's it like at your school or in your community or that kind of thing. It might be really neat to see the differences because, like, especially for us, we're out here in this very kind of rural area that has its own population that's different from different parts of Portland. So it'd be really cool for the kids to kind of see and hear from kids from different churches and places.
That's a great idea.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, kids could connect with other kids from around the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The
And
other
also
thing
not just the
too is,
conference, but with other denominations.
and other denominations, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is that Charlie and I found that, for a lack of a better word, we have to be just a little bit pushy because the kids are zoomed out. So we've gone around and visited each family, and we've had family picnics and different kinds of events outside, of course, and doing COVID safe things. And I might just suggest that's been fairly successful, but you have to just kind of take the bull by the horns and tell these people that, you're going to come do a front porch visit and sit down and visit with them to keep the connections going.
Well, it's been great because those conversations have brought up a lot of things that, we didn't necessarily realize, things that, we thought, oh, maybe they're needing this. Families must need this. But they're like, no, actually, we need more of this. And so kind of helping us, or, hey, we can offer this to other families, and getting that ecumenical idea. We're trying to get people that are in the congregation with certain skills to maybe put together activities about that skill that, kids can do as enrichment, or older kids can make ones for younger kids or whatever. So, yeah. But just keeping the connection.
You do godly play at Cedar Hills online. I've started telling some godly play stories for our Sunday school, and Pastor John was saying that why don't we invite other churches that just have 2 or 3 kids in their Sunday school come to that, and we would put it up on GracePlay. We would put are you all familiar with godly play?
A little bit. That would be great. And then if it was up on the GracePlay, then we could, play it during the children's time. That'd be great.
Okay. Now we were Zooming it live, so and so you would get it the week after. But that would be
That's all right.
We in our particular situation, we follow the narrative lectionary. Do you do the common lectionary, JJ, or are you following the godly play circle?
We're just following. I'm picking a list of godly play stories and going with it. Like right now, we're doing the Great Family, and then we'll do prophets, and then move into Advent.
Yes. It might be a good goal to look at Advent, to go towards Advent. I mean, we could start now sharing our Sunday school. Happy to do that. Does anyone have the tradition in your church of making Advent wreaths and making Advent crafts?
Oh yeah.
That would be something to share. Maybe a craft session. There's a traditional Advent wreath, but making the Moravian stars. I mean, little how-to videos. That would be something that we could, maybe collaboratively plan ahead for. If I'm looking to engage more folks, so I'd love to work with you all on something like that, or maybe one time we start with one Advent play shop or something.
How do we get a hold of you, Bonnie?
Pardon?
How do we get a hold of you?
Oh, okay. futureshine@earthlink.net, all lowercase. I've just emptied it out. I bought more memory so you won't get bounced.
Can you put it in the chat?
FUTURESHINE@earthlink.net. And if anyone has an idea of how to send videos that are bigger, that's kind of a problem, because I no longer have a what do you call that, AirDrop, since I'm not on a Mac anymore. But anyway, you can work out some of those kinks. You know what? would any of you or all of us would we want to schedule just like a Zoom planning session for this? Does somebody want to suggest a time that's good for you, and then we can maybe accommodate each other? I'm a Head Start teacher right now, but it's all virtual, so I have little freedom during the day, but mostly early evenings. What's good for?
I would be really interested in talking to people about maybe using the YouthTube channel and GracePlay channel to share videos and do interviews with other churches, other youth members.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Who would do the interviewing?
I think the kids. I think you should have the kids interviewing the other kids, but maybe give them, or maybe have sort of a youth group Zoom to sort of brainstorm some questions together rather than say, here are questions, but like, what are you curious about? And just kind of help guide the conversation, but not necessarily direct it,
Right.
Would you be willing to host that, and we'll, maybe the rest of us can each try to bring 1 or 2 or 5 or 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that would be great. Or it could even be the kind of thing where it's like an individual, like our congregation, our youth group is going to brainstorm these questions together. And then, we as leaders coordinate how to get them all connected and in touch, and then they can do the videos together.
Yeah.
Well, are you thinking Advent, JJ?
Well, I wasn't thinking of any specific time of the year. Just, I just think that would be an interesting thing because kids are zoomed out. I mean, they go to school. I mean, everything's on Zoom now. To be engaging and have that kind of, it's a risk to interview somebody that you don't know. And so that's kind of exciting, to make it something more exciting about that's connected with church is always a good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So maybe 1 or 2 of your kids could interview 1 or 2 of your kids and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be the kind of thing too where we kind of give it a try, see how it goes, tweak it a little bit, and then kids be, oh, I want to do that. I have some questions that I want to ask a kid. That it's like having a pen pal, but I don't know if anybody's really into writing letters anymore. They're more into the video things. So yeah.
Well, and it's I just lost what I was going to say. Oh, everything that we're doing right now is an experiment.
Right.
Everything is. So why not try it, right? Because.
Yeah. Well, what's a good time for our next collaboration?
I think evenings like this are good for me. Pretty much any time.
Any evening, but Thursday or Wednesday is okay with me.
Okay.
How's a Tuesday for
Tuesday would work. You guys want to write your email addresses, and if you're interested in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put on my email address. Sure.
Okay. And that gets recorded. If we put it in the chat, we can have access to it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh yeah. Awesome. I actually hadn't really. I'm so glad this is turning into a working group. Awesome.
So just to recap, to kind of understand what you guys are saying, is like maybe Charlie and I would talk to a couple of our youth about interviewing a couple of the other youth. And the interview topics would be anything or Advent related, or
well, let's start present time before Advent, because there's Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So what would the youth could just like what they're curious about or whatever. So they could interview their friends and tape and video their friends or their youth.
Just how are you doing with COVID, or how are you doing with Zoom, or?
Okay. So
what would
like that, or maybe even interviewing people that they don't know.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Is that, and Cecil, that's something that you could get on board with too, or?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. And Rosalind, do you know any?
Hi, some people are freezing up a little bit.
Oh,
Well, I mean, we could be like the planning committee and then offer it to lots of other churches in the
that's
conference.
right. Because we have the conference newsletter. We send it to Ginger Redlinger, and you know, once you get it shaped a little bit. So what about next Tuesday at 6:30?
Sounds good.
Okay,
Yeah, we can.
Tuesday, 6:30. Wow.
I think so. I'm supposed to be on another call about racism in Oregon through the conference. So let me check the schedule. But I don't think it's every Tuesday. So I think there's like 4 sessions or 5 until November. So, but I don't know all about it. Also, I'll know more tomorrow night. But I'll let you know.
So you're thinking your meeting is not tonight. Your meeting might be tonight, Katie, but it might not be the next Tuesday.
Yeah, I just don't have enough information yet, and I tried to find out. And tomorrow is the first meeting, and then I'll know more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to shoot us an email and let us know?
Yeah, I can do that. That
Okay.
sounds good.
That other iPad
Wow,
doesn't
that's
really work.
very exciting.
And I don't want you guys to have to spend
There you
like
go.
$400 on something I'm gonna.
So someone summarize what we just decided.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a little clarity around what exactly we're doing, so that I can explain to like our pastor and stuff. So we're kind of creating a group to see about youth sharing videos across denominations and ecumenically in Oregon.
And interviewing each other.
Okay.
Specifically about, do we want, well, let the kids come up with a question. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. You know, especially if we kind of have like a broader topic to kind of like get them thinking about it, but then let them generate the questions, because it's their thing, you know, and they want to ask what they want to ask.
We can let them generate the
what they want to know.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good to let them generate the questions and then have the grown-ups refine it and distribute it. You know,
Totally.
to people.
Yeah.
And,
but we also might need to just kind of let it rest until next week, and then we can solidify more plans. I mean, I find that that's helpful, but I think it's really exciting.
Yeah,
like
that'll be great. I'd love to see an Advent, you know, a longer range thing towards Advent, some kind of a craft or workshop. You know, people just sharing an Advent craft or a skill, a part of the making. Somebody might make a candle or show how to do that. So let's keep that.
And with these videos, once we get them made, would we put them on GracePlay?
Yes.
Okay.
That's accessible. There is, if you, why don't you check out the channel, and you'll see on some of the later ones, there's a link to a permission slip. We might want to refine that permission slip a little bit. So if you have ideas about, you know, making that more specific, please, you know, send a draft around. But we do need permission for their faces to be seen.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. On YouTube too, there seems to be some different settings, like we can just share the YouTube video certain places, or we can make it broader. I'm not really sure about all that, but
I think there's one. Is this for children? You know,
there's one for children, but ours is mixed. So
yeah. Okay.
If it has child content, then there's no comments allowed. But if it's adult, you know, then you can have comments.
Okay. Okay.
Has anyone actually looked at the GracePlay yet, or check it out?
Yeah, I know. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. No, that'll be cool.
And
I had another question about Godly Play. Are people are those on GracePlay or?
We don't. There is a copyright thing about the Godly Play stories. I've been to some workshops with the Godly Play resources, and they ask you to leave the video up for a few weeks, but then take it down, because the scripts for the Godly Play stories are all pre-written.
Oh,
But now there are some stories, for instance, that we used in our Bible school that are not in Godly Play, but they're in the predecessor of Godly Play. And so I don't think they're as managed as the Godly Play resources. But it's a beautiful medium. And you'll see, maybe JJ, you should give a link to your church's Godly Play, because they've already been sending out the Godly Play.
Yeah, we have some videos up that we probably should take down because we're only supposed to have them up there for a couple weeks. But if you can go to the Cedar Hills UCC website, and there's usually a link to the Godly Play videos. Cedar Hills UCC YouTube, and we have a Facebook page, Cedar Hills UCC Awesome Families. That if you want to be a part of that, I would love to have you there.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
We can create playlists within GracePlay. So we could just have a YouthTube playlist, or is that how, I'm still learning how that works, but you know, we can focus a theme or we can just spread it out. So, you know, we have some choices about how to publicize them. So, I'm so thrilled that you all came, and now we're launched here.
So who will set up the Zoom meeting and send out the link for next week?
Charlie, are you going to send out a link for next week?
Yeah, I can do that. I'll double check
Okay.
and make sure our pastor doesn't need our account for any other meetings during that same time, because then it could be as long as we need it to be. But otherwise, we can just sign back in if we get kicked off on my account too. So either way.
Okay.
Yeah, I have an account, like a personal account, so we won't get kicked off. So I can do it.
Okay, so you can, will you call the meeting then, JJ? Or?
Sure.
Okay, great. And also, if you have other folks that you'd like to get in on this conversation, young or old or in between, you know, to give input, would be great. Yeah. Well.
And then just so we are all kind of clear on, so the meeting would be like at 6:30 for like 45 minutes or whatever, and there would be like an agenda kind of, so we know.
Yeah, I can send out I'll send out a tentative agenda, and then you guys can play with it. And
okay, great. Okay, just to kind of know what to expect. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're not talking this tomorrow, but possibly the week after.
Right.
Okay.
So what was that? I'm sorry, I missed it.
We're not, tomorrow's a Tuesday, but we're thinking possibly next Tuesday.
Yes.
So, that's an action step. We're rolling here.
Cool.
So just in case, I know I have Cecil's email address, but Charlie and Katie, you guys are from Riverside. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I mess up and I don't get your email addresses, I can find it on your website.
I also just sent an email to everybody just to say hi, thanks for meeting, so we have everybody's email. So yeah, I was like, I'm afraid that's gonna get lost in the chat. So
Charlie's on it. Thanks, Charlie.
Hey, no problem.
And
I've lost the information too much before.
How about if we close with a prayer?
Thank you,
know, a shared prayer.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Holy fire, living water, thank you for bringing us together. Please help us in our struggles to reach out, but give us the grace to really play together in unity. I'll just call out a name, Cecil. Your turn to pray.
We thank you for this time together and ask for your grace in the days ahead. Molly.
Thank you for this opportunity to reach out to our youth and everybody else in our congregation and help make these connections and help us get through these times of such great disconnection. JJ.
Creating Spirit, we thank you for bringing us together in these strange and interesting times. And please know that how grateful I am for these people who are willing to embody your creativity so that we can serve our youth and our churches in a good way. Katie.
Oh, Holy One, thank you for bringing us together. And it's not all bad. We get to meet new people from around Oregon and connect in creative and expansive ways. And thank you for helping us to move forward and find joy and connection.
Amen. Hey.
Amen.